The Big Bang Theory is coming back with a bang in the form of Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. And while the show is creating a lot of buzz amongst the Big Bang Theory fans, there's good reason for it. You see, not only will the upcoming show bring back some of the most loved characters, but it also has a possibility that the OG gang of guys and girls might return in cameos. And in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. The 12 confirmed and returning characters from Big Bang Theory coming to Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. So without further ado, let's get started.
She's just looking for some comic books.
Oh, really? Wow. Blink twice if you're here against your will.
Kevin Sussman as Stuart Bloom, alternate Stuart Bloom. I, for one, am super glad that there's finally an underdog-led show that stars one of the best underdogs from sitcom history. Kevin Sussman's Stuart Bloom simply needed all this spotlight, and like it somewhere felt like there just wasn't enough Stuart to be seen across the many years that the Big Bang Theory ran for. In the show, Stuart had owned the Comic Center of Pasadena, the comic book store the leading male character visited ever so often, and he had not been some random shopkeeper either. He had been their friend, he knew comic books inside out, and he had real artistic talent. The man had even graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design and wanted to become a comic book artist, but unfortunately no one was really hiring. So in essence, he may have been awkward and all that, but behind all that awkwardness and sad sack energy, Stuart was a skilled artist. He first appeared in Season 2 in the episode titled The Hofstadter Isotope, and later, he slowly became one of the show's most memorable side characters. But yeah, he did not remain a side character for the entirety of the show, and soon became a regular on the show. So much so that his name would appear in the opening credits, and episode count-wise, he stood just behind Amy. But what really propelled Stuart in the show was an unscripted scene. During a 2021 appearance at the Paris Manga and Sci-Fi Show, Sussman recalled a scene from Season 3, Episode 7, The Guitarist Amplification, which had been only his third episode overall. In that scene, Penny came to the comic book store and asked him something. As she left, Sussman just said the words, "I love you" to Penny. And because of that, the writer seemed to understand the Stuart vibe better. He had started as a normal guy, but slowly turned into a more desperate, lonely, and painfully funny version of himself. But he did eventually find his love in fellow comic book enthusiast Denise, who is also set to appear in the second Big Bang Theory spinoff.
Bert's a geologist.
And a joker.
Brian Posehn as Bert Kibbler. So Brian Poseh's Bert Kibbler is also returning for the spinoff. Bert, the geology professor and Amy's admirer, is an oddball of a side character who can totally thrive in a story full of franchise underdogs. He was sweet, socially clumsy, and also a gentle giant, albeit one that was painfully blunt. Like, he could mean well but somehow managed to make things a bit awkward and uncomfortable for anyone and everyone involved. I mean, not everyone in the Big Bang Theory needed to be a genius physicist, and Bert was a geologist, but I think I somewhat have an issue with how Sheldon treated Bert, or those who did not have PhDs. Bert first appeared in the episode called The Contractual Obligation Implementation, where Raj met him right before heading to this library date with Lucy. Bert asked if he could join them, which only proves just how socially aware he was as a person. But as could be expected, Raj sends him away. But before he left, Bert still gave Lucy a heads up about Raj. Later in the occupation recalibration, Bert met Amy at Caltech and developed a crush on her. His way of expressing that was very on brand because he kept bringing her interesting and beautiful rocks every day. I think penguins do that too, don't they? Anyway, Amy did not realize what was actually happening until Howard and Raj told her, and although she did not think too much of it, Bert then asked her to a rock show, but she declined because she was already with Sheldon. When Bert spoke about how no one wanted to spend time with him, Amy felt bad and agreed to go, but he took that as a date. Raj and Howard then offered to help, only to end up at the rock show with him instead. Oh, and that's not all. It took Penny just one geology joke to make Bert fall in love with her as well.
All right, well, you're wearing a Green Lantern shirt, so I'm guessing you're a DC fan. Although that's from the Alan Scott era, so you're probably not super into the current run.
Lauren Lapkus as Denise. No matter where Lauren Lapkus stars and how short a duration, she is bound to leave an impression on. Such is the power of this charismatic actress. Denise had been Stuart's girlfriend, his former comic book store colleague, and of course one of the sassiest women in the entire show. I mean, Stuart had spent years as the lonely comic book guy, so giving him Denise was a gift to Stuart that kept on giving. Denise first entered Stuart's life after his comic book store called the Comic Center of Pasadena became popular and he was in need of an assistant manager. So he hired her. She loved comics, knew the material well, and was perceptive enough to figure out Sheldon's comic book preferences. At first, Sheldon did not like the change because, of course, he didn't. But once he saw her knowledge, he warmed up to her. Then Amy heard Sheldon talk about Denise at dinner and went to the store, where she demanded that Denise teach her enough comics so she could pretend she liked them. God, that's just so Amy. But also, so very funny. I mean, imagine having a non-nerd girlfriend or boyfriend who wants to become a nerd only for your sorry ass. Later in the episode called The Bow Tie Asymmetry, Stuart asked Denise to attend Sheldon and Amy's wedding with him. She almost declined because he was her boss and things would have become unprofessional. But then Howard mentioned that the great Mark Hamill would attend the wedding too, and Denise immediately changed her mind. At the wedding, she watched Stuart answer Star Wars questions better than Mark Hamill himself, and which totally turned the hell out of Denise, and the two ended up making out at the end of the wedding. In the new spin-off, I am honestly super excited about Denise, and as you figured out by now, I am totally a fan of Lauren Lapkus's acting. John Ross Bowie as Barry Kripke, Supreme Ruler Barry Kripke. With Barry Kripke's return to the show, one can rest assured of the good old academic nonsense, that whole weird rivalry, and definitely some super uncomfortable jokes. John Ross Bowie was confirmed to reprise the role, and earlier took to announce it with this Kripke-style pun on Instagram. Now, Kripke had always been a strange but interesting mix of tropes. On the one hand, he was a stereotypical geek from Caltech, but on the other hand, the guy tried his best to be sporty, or at least as sporty as he could, which is why he would almost always find himself competing with the boys, especially Sheldon. In the friendship algorithm, it was implied that he enjoyed polo, water polo, and rock climbing, although the episode title The Rothman Disintegration later clarified that he and Sheldon were equally bad at sports, like really, really bad. I mean, a 3-year-old would play better sports than these two men, combined. But yeah, the only difference was that Kripke at least knew his flaws, and he was never shy about admitting just how creepy, pathetic, and bad with women he was. Having said that, Kripke's behavior often crossed the line. He made inappropriate comments to women, had put explicit photos of himself online in the beta test initiation, and liked a strip club near his apartment partly because it had a free buffet. But yeah, in the Cooper-Kripke inversion episode, Sheldon admitted that Kripke's fusion reactor grant proposal was far ahead of his own, which explains why despite all the nonsense, Kripke could operate at Sheldon's level, and also why Caltech never managed to get rid of him. And now, Kripke is going to appear as the supreme leader of one of the universes, and I can only imagine the amount of bullshit this guy is going to be pulling off. Brace yourselves, folks. Brace yourselves. Will Wheaton appears as a powered version of himself. Will Wheaton played a more evil version of himself in the original series, and in the new sizzle reel from HBO Max, he appeared for barely a moment, but he was easily recognizable even in the blink and miss it scene. And yeah, this time around, Wheaton has rivals, and the show used him as a minor antagonist who knew exactly how to get under Sheldon's skin. But later, after he'd made peace with Sheldon in Season 5, he became friendly with the main group, so his return in Stuart's spin-off could go either way. He could be an ally or even a villain, or maybe some weird anti-hero like a mix of both. Ryan Cartwright as Kyle. So Ryan Cartwright has already played a role in The Big Bang Theory world once, but please note he won't be returning in the spin-off as the same character. Back in Season 6, he played Cole in the episode called The 43 Peculiarity. Cole was a British student who worked with Penny in her history class at Pasadena Community College, and of course it led to Leonard becoming exceedingly jealous. But if I were like Leonard and had a girlfriend like Penny, I too would be jealous. I mean, Leonard saw Cole near Penny and immediately let his insecurity get the better of it. It got to the point where he actually told Cole that Penny's boyfriend was an intimidating gang leader. Now, in the new series, Cartwright would not play Cole again. Instead, he would take on the role of Kyle, a patron of one of Stuart's stores. I'm not sure if Kyle is another version of Cole, but there is a possibility of that happening because their names sound very similar. You know, Cole Kyle, Kyle Cole. Josh Brenner as Trevor. So Josh Brenner had also been a part of the Big Bang Theory universe earlier, much like Ryan Cartwright. And also like Cartwright, Josh would be playing a different character in the spin-off than the one he played initially. So you may know Josh Brenner from Silicon Valley, but in the Big Bang Theory he played Dale, Stewart's friend and co-worker, in a couple of episodes. Dale first appeared in the Flaming Spittoon acquisition, where he sat behind the cash register at the comic book store while Stewart had gone out for coffee with Amy. Now, Dale had that very peculiar, awkward nerd energy that made even Leonard and Sheldon uncomfortable, which was impressive in its own way. Now, the reason Stewart hired him was never fully clear. Maybe Dale was family, or maybe Stewart, who was usually short on money, had hired whoever came cheap. Either way, it was all very Stewart. Dale later appeared in The Tangible Affection Proof at Raj and Stewart's singles-only Valentine's Day party. He said he was glad he came because instead of being sad and alone on Valentine's Day, he was now sad with others. He also thought Stewart was cool. In the new series, though, Brenner would play a fresh character named Trevor. Tommy Walker as Gary. So Tommy Walker will appear in Stewart Fails to Save the Universe as Gary, Denise's new boyfriend. His name got buried a little because two Big Bang Theory alums, Josh Brenner and Ryan Cartwright, also came aboard, and Ryan Cartwright had now reached his 5th Chuck Lorre show. But Walker's important because he had already played bad guys in 2 superhero series, so he is not exactly new to comic book culture. He had appeared in Marvel's Daredevil Season 1 as Francis, Wilson Fisk's loyal bodyguard, who stayed by Kingpin's side even after at least one brutal act of physical abuse. A year later, he had a longer role as the supervillain Drex Stinklebaum in Henry Danger and its spin-off. So it is possible that Gary later turns out to be more than a normal boyfriend for Denise, and he totally has the CV for it. You see, the real issue is Denise. In the Big Bang Theory finale, Denise and Stewart were still together, so Gary's presence in the show only means that they have broken up after the finale and enough time had passed for Denise to move on. And that means that a sad little trope about Stewart is back. The show had often treated him like the resident sad guy. The gang invited him sometimes, yes, but Raj and Mrs. Wolowitz were the ones who truly treated him with any affection. Even when his store burned down, the story still found room for jokes about insurance money. For instance, in the episode titled The Mommy Observation, where Stewart spent the murder mystery as a corpse, and in the future scene, everyone forgot their promise to reunite, which left him alone on the sidewalk. So yeah, Stewart had always tried hard to belong. Before Denise, his dates with Penny and Amy were rare exceptions, while most women saw him as creepy. That was why Denise was so crucial to him. I mean, she accepted him the way he was, even after he turned himself orange before their first date. So Gary could set up Stewart's big redemption, especially if he became a villain and Stewart had to save the day.
Sheldon, give the man some privacy. I'm sorry, this guy's got no respect for boundaries.
Joshua Malina, Caltech President Siebert. So Joshua Charles Malina had already been a known face long before he entered the Big Bang Theory world. Born on January 17, 1966, he had worked in film and on stage, although most people likely knew him best as Will Bailey, the White House Deputy Communications Director from The West Wing. Siebert first appeared in The Benefactor Factor as the newly appointed president of Caltech, and needless to say, Sheldon Cooper became a problem for him almost immediately. I mean, running a top science institute was already enough trouble, but then you had Sheldon bothering you at all hours over things that Siebert clearly found minor or deeply annoying. The show also kept hinting that Siebert swore a lot, with jokes about a swear jar and whether he kissed his mother with that mouth. These were nearly all the major casting confirmations about the new show, but I do want to talk about a few others. At number 10, we have Christine Baranski, who was better known as Leonard's mother, Beverly Hofstadter, in The Big Bang Theory, and she's been confirmed to appear, but not clearly stated as Beverly. Then we have Ricky Lindholm, formerly Ramona Nowitzki in the original show, and she is also attached to the spin-off in an unspecified capacity. And lastly, we have Teller, who appeared as Amy's mostly silent father in the original show, and he's been confirmed as part of the spin-off's cast, but with no detailed character description yet. So yeah, that was all in this one, folks. If you liked the video, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Those 2 small clicks from you will help us tremendously in bringing you more of these awesome videos. Stay safe and have a good one.